the park to get the kumara. Tastes so good to me. I get the shovel and the spade.
Tēnā anō tātou, kei konei ahau, kei te taha o tētahi o ngā kaitākaro, no te tima o Rockhampton, ana, ko Nikau McCullought, tēnei, kei te pēhea, brother.
Kei te pai wala, ngā mihi ki a koe me te mahi mahi ana nei, tautoko tō mahi e hoa, no reira, ngā mihi.
Kia ora rā, kia ora rā. No reira, e mua i te timatanga o ngā pātai, tēnā whakataki atu ki ngā tāngata, kōwhaiwhai, no hea koe, he aha tō mahi tēnei wā.
Kia ora whānau, ko Nikau McCullought tōku ingoa, no Hamilton, ahau. They're from Hamilton, bro. Went to Kura Kaupapa in Malvu, whakawātea, full immersed Māori kura. My mother's side from the Hokianga up north. Father's side from Ngāti Wikitori. No reira, I'm a bit of a mixed breed here in New Zealand, bro. So
Mean, brother. And obviously, kaitākaro, you're a kaitākaro for the team in Rockhampton. That must mean basketball is your passion, brother. Just so the audience knows. First off, bro, start us off. Talk about your haerenga in this in your basketball career. We'll take it all the way back as well to when you're a tamariki, all the way till now. What made you get into poitūkohu, and what's kept you interested up until now?
Ki oku whakaaro ko te timatanga. Started with my brother. Just being outside and watching them play and trying to get involved, you know, as a younger sibling. And I don't know what about it was, but going to Kura, it was a pretty athletic school. We played a lot of sports like whutupōro, netipōro, pāwhutupōro, tiorahi, ira momompa. And I can just remember vividly one rugby training that was like raining, bro. I forgot my boots.
Yeah.
And they still made me practice in the rain. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not built like that, bro. So basically after that, then I just fully committed to hoops.
Yeah.
I mean, I was skating a little bit at the time too. So it was like just pretty young, active kid trying to be outside. And naturally, I just grew to love basketball, bro. Like I didn't really watch much basketball games. It was more just like playing and competing. But once I started to study the game and like just watch the game, bro, I fell in love there. So
yeah, mean, cuzzy. And taking it back to your to when you were a kīroa rangatahi, we should say, obviously went to the same high school as the brother JB. We'll start there in your basketball journey, because I assume that's where things started to really kick off for you. Talk a bit about your experience, your wheako at that kura, and how it was playing beside one of your close bros and JB.
Nah, high school was an unreal moment in my life. Like, still got a lot of fond memories from those times. And just my whole high school experience, starting from like year 9, and just seeing the older kids and everyone that was there when I just started, it was like they looked like men to me, bro. You know? And slowly growing up and creating relationships with a lot of the boys that played basketball. Me and JB just came close naturally because we were just doing the same thing a lot of the time. But it was like my year 11, I'd say, my first year seniors. Because my dad was working in Angola at the time. It just made sense for me to move in with him.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
actually moved on with him, bro, and like that's really where it started. Like we'd just be trying to train as much as we could, like 6 a.m. before school, like straight after school, waiting for our ride to get picked up every lunchtime, like skip school to go watch the All-Star game. Like
Hard.
we were literally just mimicking each other. But for me, I was blessed because he was older and like naturally, if you've seen the bro play, he's just like natural at it, bro. So it's
Yeah,
like he was making a lot of national teams and like he was just on the right path. And me being living with him, I felt like it was just the perfect setting for me to like see what the foundation looks like and just try to compete against the best players. And he was at the time. So it's like it was just a perfect situation that just happened, bro. And obviously Mel Young being there and like being an advocate for basketball, he was looking out for us and that and
yeah.
trying to steer us in the right direction. But bro, the amount of one-on-ones we had, it's like we don't even play one-on-one anymore because it's like we're all past that, bro. You know, it's
Used it
like
all
we,
up.
we just try
Yeah.
to train. Yeah, we just try to train to get better and compete in it. But it's like we've been doing it for 10 years, bro. So it's like I can't imagine life without it, really.
Yeah, for sure. And JB touched on a lot of the same things that you've been talking about, is having a person like that who has that same mentality of just competing every day, and how much of a help that was for him in his basketball journey. How was that for you to have someone to compete with? Was it competitive, like in your one-on-ones, or was it like
Nah, definitely. It was getting to the point where it was getting toxic, bro. It was like whoever wins is happy on the way home, or like whoever loses is not talking, bro. So it was like just going through that a lot. We kind of grew to mature and realize like you win some and you lose some, bro. It's like you just got to compete and you got to remember who you're competing against, and it's like if they're the best, they're gonna bring the best out of you. So it was like it was a at the beginning it was a little toxic, but we maneuvered through it and found the way how to find like a happy balance between competing and like keeping the vibes right, you know.
For sure, for sure. Healthy balance, always good, bro. But yeah, without a doubt, having a partner like that to go back and forth with would have helped your career so much. Just before we
And
move, just before we move forward onto college and the States, just gonna bring it back one more, I should say, like one more schooling experience. What was the transition like for you from kura kaupapa Māori into a kura auraki?
te wai timatau te kura tuarua, ko te reo Māori toku reo tuatahi no reira. He ua te kōrero, te tuhinga, ngā mea katoa. So I was really put in like a comms class, bro, because I couldn't really read or write too well, and like I was pretty fresh, you know. So
Yeah,
it was a tough transition, but I think having like basketball and being involved in like a whānau class kind of helped that transition, so it wasn't so like didn't feel so alienated. It was like had people around me on the same journey, kind of, and whānau vibe really.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And obviously you talked about coming in, and it would have been a bit harder for your reo, for your taha tui, taha pānui must have been as well. Talk about etahi o ngā taumahatanga, etahi o ngā raru i pā ki a koe i tō tau tuatahi i roto i te kura auraki.
Oh, te reo English, like just English class, like synonyms and similes and punctuate, like, bro, I didn't know anything, eh? And like,
Yeah,
I'll be stuck. They'd call me in at lunchtime to finish my essays, and I'm like, bro, I don't know what I'm doing, bro. I'm just writing as if it wasn't Māori, and like, because Māori's not really a formal language. It's kind of like a spoken language. So like to be able to write in a way where I don't know, make sense, I guess. It was difficult, I'd say.
Yeah.
But it was I enjoyed it though. Like I had some good teachers that were obviously mindful of that, and there were like other kids around. So like we were kind of like doing it together, kind of making fun of each other at the same time. But
Yeah, hard.
nah, it was all good though. It was all
Nah,
good.
me. And just wanted to bring that up because there is a lot of our tamariki Māori who go through the same stuff that you have, obviously transitioning out of that full Māori environment into Urauraki and into the old Pākehā, I should say. So cool as to hear it from someone who's, made it through that hump that they might go.
Yeah, and I'd say to the kids like kōwhaiwhai, like obviously in the moment it feels something that like maybe you're behind or like you're not as smart, but in the long run, like we have that connection to our roots and to our whānau and to our tipuranga that I can say not a lot of people have that connection, and just do the reo by itself, and like obviously how te ao Māori is, but like even just the reo, bro, like the older you get, the more thankful you are that, you kind of went to a kura to begin with.
Yeah, kia ora.
Personally.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And without a doubt, I think there's other people who felt the same way, bro. And so, yeah, mean to hear you kōrero about that, my bro. Anyway, moving on to our next kaupapa at hand, my bro. Obviously, after high school, we jump out to the big world, to America. Tuatahi, tērā pea, kōrero mai mo te tō whakawhitinga mai Aotearoa ki Amerika me ngā mahi kei wainga nui i tērā whakawhitinga. Arā, ko te waia atu ki ngā kura, ko te waitohu i ngā karahipi, e rā momo mea katoa. Kōrero mai.
Well, like to bring Jaden back into it, like, so when he finished school, he kind of let me see the vision, bro, because like, you hear about college and you watch it on TV, but from New Zealand, it's such a dream, like you can only dream of being in those settings, and like, so I didn't really see it, bro, but then once JB kind of was on his journey over there, then I was like a bit more confident that this was something I could achieve. And then, so after high school, I moved to Wellington to train with the Saints. And while I was down there, I was just like studying for my SATs and trying to get filmed to coaches and that. Meanwhile, like being a development player, not really playing, and like going to trainings and just doing all the little things. And at the same time, bro, I was almost manifesting it. Like it wasn't even a thought that I wasn't going. It was just like, how do I take the steps in order for me to achieve this goal? And so, like I said, bro, studying for SATs and just doing all the little things that would have given me a better chance of going over there. And then I think we had a under 18s 3-on-3 tournament, world champ, which we thankfully took it out. But my team was stacked, but we had like Ty Wynyard ended up committing to Kentucky. Matt Freeman ended up committing to Oklahoma. Sam Timmons ended up committing to Washington. And I was the fourth player, so it's like I wasn't getting any high major looks, but just off their names and like how I was playing and just the vibe that was surrounding me, like I was confident I was going to get something, bro. And like I signed up to this like recruitment agency. And it's kind of hit or miss. Like you don't really know what you're going to get out of that. But thankfully, from the 3-on-3 experience in that, I got a call not long after, and they were it was from St. Mary's, a D2 in San Antonio, which at the time Yanni Witzel was at. So I think he had a bit of a hand in getting me there, as well as all the other people behind the scenes, but like it was a struggle, bro, and it was like a lot of uncertainty, like, you know, no one really guiding me or no one really helping me. Obviously, I had like help from my family in it, but it was kind of like, if this is something you want, you got to make it happen. And I kind of found a way to make it happen, thankfully enough, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And just going back to that 3-on-3 team, first of all, holy hicka. The amount of
What a
names
team.
on that, bro,
What a
that's,
squad.
bro, Sam Timmons,
Yeah.
Ty, and Matt Freeman.
And
That's,
those are people I still keep up with to this day and like, you know, support their journey and can call them anytime and like,
for
that's what
sure,
it's love, bro. So love
for
those dudes.
sure, for sure, for sure. And talking about, it was interesting to hear you talk about your journey and how you navigated going to the States and how it felt. Well, what I heard it as is it felt maybe a bit lonely and didn't have much guidance to go over there. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think to begin, like I didn't know where to look for help.
Mm,
Such a foreign idea. Like
yeah,
my age group, it was kind of like Ty Webster and Isaac Fotu that was like really making the jump, but those are like the best players in our country, like
yeah,
by far. So it was like, if I'm not at that level, like, is it really an opportunity for me to do this? So it's
mm,
like, I didn't really want to share my dreams because I didn't want to like feel discouraged by other people's opinions. But at the same time, I feel like these ways I could have reached out a little more and like try to have some guidance, even if it was to the players exactly, or maybe if it was like to a coach or like an ex-player or something like. But I just kind of head down, bro. Just try to figure it out myself, which I'm thankful for in the long run, because like in the future, I might be involved with some sort of situation where there's a kid similar in my position that's trying to find a way, doesn't really know how, doesn't know if they're good enough or whatever, and like I can kind of just guide them through my own experience.
100, bro. Yeah, and exactly. There's plenty of our tamariki Māori who will be going through the same thing. They're there, they've worked hard, they've got to that level. It's just navigating it, having those tools and having those contacts to navigate to get to that next level, to get to colleges, to get on pro teams, those kind of things. So,
But I was also blessed to have like the support of my whānau who was encouraging me to like chase my dreams, because like, you know, after school it's kind of a lot of pressure on some, especially rangatahi, like in the community, to financially support for their whānau and that, and
exactly.
be involved. And so thankfully, like I was graced with a few years after school. Obviously I was working in that, but it wasn't so much pressure to start a trade or start a career. It was like, if this is what you want to do, son, like make it happen. We'll support you, but you know, if this is what you want, go chase it, bro.
You gotta do it. Yeah, yeah. Nah, mean. And staying in America for now. He anga tino akoranga mai tērā whiako, mai ngā tau ki Amerika, ki St. Mary's.
Te ao katoa, ngā tangata katoa, te kaupapa, ngā whakaaro, te reo. It's like just a culture shock when I first arrived there. It was like, yeah, just a culture shock basically, bro. Like you don't know what to expect. You don't know like certain slang and certain like, because in New Zealand I feel like we're pretty chill, bro. We're like we can chat to one another, but over there it's kind of like a social status, social ladder, like
Yeah.
So
Yeah. He awa no me ki. It's a whole different world out there, brother. And so when you've arrived there, you've got there, you've played maybe for a bit of time, like got used to the lifestyle, I should say, started going to practices. Talk me through some of the feelings you got, first of all, playing in America, because talked about this with JB, and I know this for sure. American basketball is completely different to basketball in Aotearoa. Talk to me
Definitely.
about the biggest differences that you experienced when you first got there. I guess the essence of the apartheid is, what was your welcome to America moment?
I mean, it was almost like, because I got there in the summertime, so to do summer school, and that's basically where, like, if you're trying to earn minutes, that's where you earn them. So I had dudes that were fresh off their first year. They were working hard. Like, I just got there, and like, even our first weight sessions, bro, like our warm up was 100 pull-ups. So like, I'm like, bruh. So that was a welcome moment. And then like in our runs and stuff, like just athletes, bro, basically just like faster than you, jump higher than you, stronger. Like, so for like the first 2 weeks, I was alright, but it was tough, bro. Like, it was definitely a tough transition, just in terms of the gameplay and game style and athleticism, and like they essentially created the sport, bro. Like the skill levels out the gate, their feel for the game is out the gate, and it's like how we are with rugby. You know, it's like it's our first sport, so
hard.
we're naturally just, you know, skilled and got a good feel. So over there, it was like, you can tell why they're the best in the world, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And so kind of circling up the whole experience in America, what are your biggest takeaways that you got from that over the whole span of your career in America?
Biggest takeaways,
Yeah.
I would say, like, try to use your environment to serve you rather than serving your environment.
Yeah.
Try to stay confident in who you are as a player, especially like being a Kiwi is so far away, and like good game, bad game. Some of the players there have family that like comforts them after a game, you know, and like. But for me, it was like good game, bad game, straight to the dorm, solo, you know, like family don't really care if you play well or not. They just like want to see you happy and that. So it's like the perseverance to stay confident in who you are amongst the ups and downs, for sure. Like, you just got to back yourself, bro. Bet on yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And just finishing up on our the American part of this kōrero, I should say. Who was some of the best talent you got to toes up with over there?
I mean, my personal, well, we had a lot of games, and like there were some good players, obviously, like good players in the games in there, but it was like the summer runs, bro, where like pros from the EuroLeague or like ex-NBA dudes that have runs in San Antonio, and there was this one dude, Marcus King. Go look him up. For all the youth out there, look this man up, bro. He still plays now. I still follow him, bro, and like going up against him, bro, it was unreal. And like getting the nod of approval from him after that run, it was like, yeah, like my confidence definitely rose after that, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a problem. He's like maybe 6 foot, maybe not even 6 foot, but bag is deep, my boy. Bag is deep.
Killing fellas. And like on that, because these summer runs, although they're just like casual runs in the summertime and you're just scrimmaging, there must be a lot of learning you get from that. You talked about getting the nod of approval from Marcus Keane and how much that did for you and your confidence. Talk a bit more about those experiences you got from those kind of runs.
I mean, it's kind of like basketball in its purest form, you know. Obviously, like when you throw a coach in there, it's a lot more structured. But when it's the runs, bro, people like playing because they love to play. They're playing because they're working on something. They're playing because, like, whatever the reason, it's just like chains are off. Everyone's
100.
working, like they're trying to cook you, and they're trying to let you know that they're cooking you. So it's like a lot of trash talk, bro, but it's a part of the culture. And like when you see the NBA and you see how competitive it is, just go to like a summertime run, bro. It's like not obviously it's different, but it's like you can just see where the passion and the competitiveness comes from in those runs. And like if you're able to raise your game to that level, then you're better off as a player, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Cool little insight, bro, because that's something that not many people tend to acknowledge, these scrimmages,
Yeah.
how important they are. And like you said, bro, the purity of the scrimmages, it's
Yeah.
people doing it.
Because sometimes they can get out of hand though with like that's a foul or that's out. It's a foul ball. Like sometimes there will be moments where they're just arguing for 30 minutes and it kills the game. But then there's moments where like dudes are getting after it, talking smack to one another, you know,
Yeah.
like it was competitive for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Man, sounds like that whole experience helped you so much as a player over in America, bro. And then
Yeah.
we're gonna jump back to Aotearoa. Hoki ki te kāinga. I believe you came back 2019-2020 season. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you joined the Franklin Bulls, which was your first first ever taste of professional basketball, I should say.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that, going to the going back to the kāinga and going into your first ever professional environment.
Well, for me, bro, like after college, I wasn't too sure on what I was gonna do, because like it was just a strange time where it was like lockdown and you know you're trying to play but there's nothing going on, and like it's not college anymore, so you need to pay rent, and you know like it's the real world. So trying to manage like how do I get money as well as like continue to do what I love.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was actually working in Te Puke at a Kiwi Fruit pack house during that time when the draft was announced.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know what was happening, bro, but I think I was at the hot pools or something, and then someone just texted me like, bro, up the bulls, up the bulls.
Yeah.
So I was like, ended up having a look, and I was selected like seventh or eighth for the Bulls.
Yeah.
Like low on the radar, bro, you know, it wasn't really making too much noise. And then thankfully, you know, some of the boys on the team, like Isaac Davidson and Sam Timmons, they kind of nudged, like had a hand in it again. Like I'm gonna say, bro, like during my journey, I've had a lot of people look out for sure. So I just want to say big up to all the ones that's like, you know what I'm saying, saw the vision with me, bro. Because, you know, without them, I might have not been selected, and then this might, like, my whole journey might have not happened. So, yeah, but selected by the Bulls, and it's kind of the beginning of where it all started, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, big shout out to everyone who supported that, because it's, especially when you're that young, you're fresh out of college. Even before college, you talked about Yanni having a hand in getting you over there.
Yeah.
For those people to put trust in you and trust your vision and trust your journey is a huge, huge thing. So shout out to them. And it kind of reminds me of a whakatauki. E hara taku toa I te toa taki tahi, engari he toa taki tini. Holy heka, tongue twister. But yeah, just talking about that, it's not just your success. This is the success of many. This is the success of everyone who supported you on this journey. So,
definitely. And I just want to like give credit where it's due. You know, I can say I did this all myself, but really, like, I've had a lot of people show a lot of love, bro. So I'm like truly blessed for that, as well as the hoops, like just people that support me as much as they have. Like, it's unreal.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then
I was like, oh,
kia ora no tātou hoki mai, aroha mai, kāri au te utu mo te Zoom Premium i tēnei wā. Hoi, ātona wā, kautua. Engari, ka hoki atu ki ngā kōrero. So, brother, we were on the Bulls, kaupapa of the Bulls. You're saying that you're at the hot pools. When you actually got drafted by them, why were you at the hot pools and not paying attention to the draft, brother?
After like submitting my name in the draft, I didn't really like pay too much attention to it. I just kind of figured like, if it happens, it happens. You know, I was too busy in my own world at that time that, yeah, it wasn't like a priority, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and then Bulls being your first year in the pros, bro. What was I te ao poitūkohu me ki? What were the biggest takeaways from that as the professional basketball player in that professional basketball world? Poitūkohu nei, what was the biggest
right.
lessons?
Well, I'd say like being a college, like a student athlete and a pro is basically like the same thing, really.
Yeah.
In terms of like understanding that it's a performance-based sport. And having to, you know, perform in that. But I'd say my biggest takeaways from that season would be like the relationships I've made, like Uncle Everard Bartlett, he was on that team at the time. Jackson Stubbing, Splash, bro.
Yeah.
He was on the team at the time. Seth, Mahalo Vibes, he was on the team at the time, and these are people that I can reach out to today with my journey and kind of ask them for some advice, or like there's even been moments me and Jackson work out a bunch, and it's like, so just the relationships I've made from that team were the biggest takeaways, I'd say. For
sure, me, brother. And then jumping from the Bulls in the 2021 season, you obviously signed to Manawatu, the Manawatu Jets. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, next season, Manawatu Jets. Second year in the pros. What were the feelings like? Kia ngā kare a roto. I taua wā. What was it like to, you know, you've had your rookie year, you've settled in a bit more. Talk to us a little bit about how you're feeling in your second year. Where's your confidence at? All those kind of things, bro.
Well, shout out to Joe Reddish. I just need to add that one in there, bro. He's worth his weight in gold, that fella.
Yeah.
But, like, thanks to him, my confidence was pretty high because we worked out basically every day during the off season. And but like from the season prior, I was feeling a little bit not valued as much as I feel like I was.
Yeah.
Like they weren't trying to put me in positions to be effective where I felt like I could have. So I was trying to shop the market a little bit. And having lived with JB and went to school with the bro, we were talking and just like joked about the idea, but closer to the signing day, like I was just kind of giving it some thought, and I thought like that it would be a fun time. Just from the year prior, like the Jets seemed like a pretty good program, having made the finals in that 1 year and like a bunch of breakout seasons, and the way Tim had his team running in there, like it looked like something you wanted to be a part of. So I was like, it made sense in the time. And I don't regret the decision, but it's like, yeah. Nah, no regrets, bro.
Yeah, for sure. And it must have been cool as to be on the same team with the bro who you've literally been grinding with since almost day one, bro. It must have been such a rewarding feeling. Talk a little bit about that, and maybe if you want to talk about a bit of the like kōrero that you and JB were having when it was signed, sealed, and delivered. Like you were going to the Jets.
It was just like, we would just talk about like, imagine it, like how we were back in high school and like we could do this and we could do that, and like it sounded like a good situation in our head.
Yeah.
But obviously that wasn't the situation. We didn't have a great of a season for a bunch of factors, but we were playing well, but we just weren't getting wins, bro. So I appreciate that situation as well, just to see like kind of not what rock bottom is, but you know, how to overcome a losing situation. Yeah,
for sure, exactly. And there's always, regardless of how a season goes, always takeaways, always lessons. So now we'll jump over to your third team in the NZNBL. Obviously your best experience in the NZNBL, Tip City, o te poti, Nuggets.
O te poti, yes sir.
O te poti ki te ao, brother. Talk to us a little bit about that squad and everything you went through, because it was such a fun squad to watch, especially just from a fan standpoint. You, the bro, what's his name? Will Barnsley, is it?
Matthew Barnsley,
there it is, bro.
Darcy Knox, yeah, bro. Robbie Coleman, shout out to all the boys. Josh, Jahi,
yeah,
you know, all those,
yeah, for sure. And it was an exciting team, and then obviously having what's his name, Brett Matehaere as the coach.
Brent.
Yeah, young Māori man. Talk to us just a little bit about that experience in o te poti.
So it began like there was a 3-on-3 draft. So they have like a Shakes Cup, and they draft teams for it. And I was picked last by the Nuggets. So like just off that, I felt like this was a place that wanted me and was keen to have me there. And unfortunately, the tournament didn't go through, but just that feeling of being valued. Speaking with Brent, obviously Māori and ex St. John's lad. He was
really?
Like, Johnny's boy, bro.
Wazi.
And he just created a setting where it was like kotahitanga was our main thing, bro, and whanaungatanga, and he used a lot of Māori tikanga within our team that kind of helped bring us together, because like I wouldn't say we were the most skilled or talented team, but we were the most together, bro. Like
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it started with him kind of bringing in these ideas, and just the locals being able to follow his lead and embrace what the teachings were. And like even like our import Todd Withers and Keith, and coming in and buying into the ideas that we had as a team, and not trying to branch too far from like obviously staying themselves, but being able to give into what's happening down here. And there was a vibe, bro. Like I enjoyed the experience, bro. I still have a lot of fond memories with the boys, and I still like love that place even today, and like watching them play. And even the season that they're having now, it's like you can just see the joy, bro, and like the togetherness that they have. And like finding that in pro sports is very rare. So
exactly.
I shout out to Brent Matehaere for the coaching job he's done.
Yeah.
Hopefully a potential World Cup call up or something, because like, you know, it's like
overdue, bro. It's overdue.
Yeah, a lot of slander on his name too, you know, like, and he keeps producing. So it's like maybe the X's and O's only take you so far in pro sports, when you need to really get the dudes together and unite them, and like have a unit rather than just players, you know.
Exactly. And like you said, bro, yous were definitely not the most talented, and I'm not saying this isn't bad, bro. Like,
respectfully.
Yeah,
Respectfully.
respectfully, absolutely. Not the most talented, bro. Not the craziest like signings, not the craziest local.
No,
Like obviously
no.
the sports were up there, but on paper, definitely not the so-called best team. But you can see it as well as a fan, bro. I even remember when they won the. Oh, did they win the showdown? Yeah. Yeah, bro. Even watching that, like, you could just tell it was diffy. There was something about them that I don't know. Yeah,
Kotahi whanaungatanga, manakitanga, all of these
yeah,
Māori concepts that Brent was instilling in them. It showed, bro. Like even that showdown season, you wouldn't catch them without one another. Like they moved squad deep, bro. And
yeah.
they did things as a team, and even getting there, you know, they embraced me and allowed me to be who I was. And like whanaungatanga, bro, it was mean, bro. You know?
Yeah, you can see it, bro. The squad fully looked like they embodied a lot of Māori values. Looked very together, moved as a unit.
Yeah.
On the subject of the Nuggets, you talked about how Brent brought the team together with all these Māori ideas, whanaungatanga, manakitanga, all those things. Besides the team, how did Brent help you further yourself as a player, especially last year as well? Because I felt like last year that's where your leap was. If that's what I've seen. That's where that leap
I
was.
felt that's how it felt too. That's how it felt. I'd say like he just instilled me with a bunch of confidence, bro. Like from day one, he wasn't really trying to shape me to be who he wanted me to be. He just wanted me to be the best version of myself. And like the best advice Brent ever told me was, "Do you."
Yeah,
And like just to have that confidence from your coach, bro, is unreal. So like obviously mistakes happen in basketball, but he was encouraging to play through the mistakes, play aggressive, and stay true to yourself, and just do what you do, bro. You know?
yo, for sure. Big shout out to the Otepochi Nuggets fan. Big shout out to everyone.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Looking ahead, brother, to one of probably the most prolific parts of your career is 3-on-3 basketball. Obviously, you, JB, Ty, Dom, all them boys, and the fill-ins. If people couldn't make it, talk to us a little bit about all those competitions, traveling the world, bro, seeing different places, also playing a new type of basketball at the highest level you can possibly play. Talk to us a little bit about that experience and the swagger that you guys brought, bro, because it felt like when you were like in your primes of going to tournaments on a regular basis and keeping that same squad, there was a buzz around you. There was a buzz around you guys, bro. People were tuning in for 3-on-3, which is not a usual thing, bro. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, shout out to Pete, who was the men's coach, who same thing as Brent, bro, just kind of saw the value and like gave me confidence to just be myself. And so we went to Doha for the World Cup qualifiers, made it to the finals, and like even in that finals was a pretty nail-biting game, being down 2 points, 20-18, and still getting the win somehow. And just like playing against international competition. And that was at the beginning of the year, though. So to start the year off like that, like, was feeling pretty good. Get into the season, and then just the boys and Ty and Dom, and then to add JB to the World Cup squad, it was like I feel like we were the best team on the planet, bro. Like key, like,
that's what it felt like, man.
Like the amount of confidence Pete gave to us, and like just allowed us to be ourselves. Obviously, you gotta hold yourself a certain way when you're representing the country, and it's very honorable. But he wasn't making us change who we were as people, you know, like he was allowing us to express ourselves on the court, you know, where like a lot of coaches will kind of might restrict you and have you be a little bit more humble, but like he just let us express ourselves on the court. And like as a player, that's where you release the most emotions, bro, is when you're on that, in between those lines. And sometimes you can't control the emotion, sometimes the emotion gets the most of you, but being in a space where it's like it's allowed, you know, it was mean, bro. It was mean.
Yeah, for sure. And like I talk about this all the time with a couple of my boys. I thought that squad, and you and JB in particular, it's like creating a new face for basketball here in Aotearoa. Like you said, Pete lets you express yourselves not only on the court but also off the court. Like just pictures and like all the Insta stories and videos, and like you're not your run-of-the-mill basketball players from New Zealand who rock up all correct gears and walk a certain way and talk a certain way. You stage yourself, and bro, people can feel it. The fans know it, they can feel it, bro. So I guess to wrap up 3-on-3, what was your biggest lessons from it? Not necessarily wise either.
Right. But with the hoops, I'd say like just getting to play a bunch of different countries, bro. Like say you went to play Iran, they didn't even speak English, but you both hoop, you know, or like the French team, they didn't speak English, but you both know what a step back is or a floater. It's like it's the international language, bro. So being able to just travel the world and see what other like dudes' games talking about, see how yours compares. Because from New Zealand, like we're not the biggest country, so you kind of like second guess your value amongst the ladder, like especially at the World Cup, like not understanding how pinnacle of an event it was. We were just there to compete, bro, really, and like just compete, see what the game's talking about, see what we're built like. And then starting off against Serbia, it's like 10-time defending world champs. We only just lose the game due to like just inexperience, bro. But like to be able to be on that stage and compete against like world-class players was unreal. And then like off the court, like bro, I visited like 7 countries last year, so
unreal.
Just like to meet people and hear stories from people and kind of carve my own story amongst it all was unreal, for sure.
For sure, bro, for sure. And just finishing up on the 3-on-3 kaupapa, will the squad be getting back together anytime soon?
Olympic team, my boy.
Yes, let's see it.
I'm good. Well, shout out to Ty, who just got offered that unreal contract in China.
Oh my God, $250,000. Big up, man. Unreal.
And he's early. I'd say 3-on-3 gives you an opportunity to kind of showcase skills that maybe you can't in a 5-on-5 setting.
Yeah,
there's like sure. a lot more space, a lot more freedom, and like there's only 3 players, so you can't hide, like you're exposed kind of. So like those parts of the game I enjoy there. So I'd say so, bro. I'd say so, especially if it's like a pinnacle event. Like unfortunately I missed out on the Kong games due to COVID, but like I feel like if I had went, we would have medaled, bro, for sure. We would have won the gold, and to be a gold medal athlete at a event like that, it's a privilege. So definitely on the bucket list. And something that it's in the back of my mind. So no, for sure.
Handy, bro. And I remember that as well, bro, because you were building up nicely all the way up to the Con Games D. And bro, I was honestly so excited to watch you run it at the Commonwealth Games D, and then obviously go down with the uiui. No good, man.
No. But it's
without
kind of like a blessing in disguise at the same time, because like when I went down for the Com Games, it was like our last few games for the NBL season.
Mm.
So I was able to like lock in and get my legs right for the 5-on-5 game, and fortunately we ended up winning it, which was like it was sweet that I didn't get that experience, but I got something that in my mind holded a lot more value in the setting I was in at the time, like
For
the people
sure.
I'm trying to impress.
For sure, G. Silver lining, you know, you can't, like, yeah, exactly. If you did go over to Birmingham, who knows? Who knows what might have happened?
Exactly.
And then fast forwarding, bro, to just recently, your Tall Blacks debut, brother. Unreal, Mihi, to get that, that nod and get that honour to don the Tall Blacks jersey, because e hara tērā i te mea ngāwari noa. He taurata ki atu tērā. Talk a bit about, first of all, the camp going into your first Tall Blacks camp, and then what it's like playing on that stage, because some would argue, like obviously NBA, they talk about NBA being the pinnacle, but some would argue, myself included, that international basketball may be the real pinnacle.
Well, like to start off with the camps, like we started our camp off in Japan, I think, and we were doing like 2 sessions a day, and like usually like an age group, so it was competitive in that, like growing up, but like when you start going against players you've looked up to, like Ruben and Shea and Ike, and just like, I mean, dudes you really looked up to growing up, it's like you really got to bring like if you're sore, bro, that's an excuse, you know, like you can't be sore right now because these dudes are trying to bust your ass, and I wanted to try to prove myself, so I'm trying to bust theirs too, and like you got the legendary PC as your head coach, like, so it was an unreal setting, bro, just to be able, like you said, like nothing I will ever take for granted, just to be in that situation and to be able to compete. And but I'll tell you, bro, the amount of blisters I got after that first week of training, the amount of stretches I had to do with my boy Jaron.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And then when you got the call for that you've made the squad, or found out, I don't know if it was a phone call or not, but when you found out that you're going to be a Tall Black, gee, what was the feelings like there, and who did you first call to tell?
When they told me, we had, it was during the playoffs of the NBL, so we had just played the Hawks, and they had mentioned that I was in the extended squad, and then we just beat the Nelson team, and then they kind of informed me after that game. I think it was a tie, like a pick between me and Alex McNaught. And so I think just off that game, having won it, it was kind of like the nudge to put me over the edge.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, when I found out, I wasn't surprised, because like in my mind, like I earned it, bro. Like I should have been in that situation. So I was kind of more relieved than excited, just like, oh, finally, you know, like. And then so it was during the final, so I told my teammates, told the coaches, everyone was super proud in that, and then told my old man in that, really. But it kind of happened quick, bro. So it was like, found out on the 12th, we played our final on the 14th. We go back to Dunedin on the 15th, and then I fly out to Japan on the 17th. So it was like, it was a hectic week, bro. It was a hectic week.
The schedule, it's a schedule and a half.
It's just like that. I'd say, like, in just being a pro athlete, there's a lot of like unknowns or uncertainties that like could just happen with a phone call, and then all of a sudden you might be on a plane somewhere else, or you know, like it could happen just like that. So I'd say to stay prepared for whatever, so you don't got to get ready, you know, just stay ready.
Exactly, for sure. But then talking about staying ready, obviously jumping forward now to right now, staying ready. You're now in Rockhampton and Ahitereiria. Haven't been there too long, have you? So talk to us in the short amount of time that you've been there. Talk to us a little bit about what b-ball is like over there. Is it much different to Aotearoa? And talk a little bit about what you've learned thus far being over there.
Well, getting out of my comfort zone, you know, like, what's the key thing? Trying to find success in different settings where it's not always beneficial for you. Like, obviously, Brent in that situation was amazing, but sometimes you won't have situations like that. So it's like, how do I remain successful when it's not, I don't know, you know, like how do I be successful in any situation, basically?
Exactly. Adaptability.
And I mean, they love hoops over here, bro. Like, there's a bunch of teams and a bunch of dudes playing, and everyone's trying to get a job over here as well. You got imports trying to get their looks, and you got locals trying to get their NBR roles, and so it's competitive. It's competitive, bro. It's good. It's good. I'm happy I made a decision just to continue expanding and like seeing how I match up, seeing what the rest of the world's hoops are talking about, and see how I can just develop, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And talking about expanding, like I guess your basketball world, because now you've played in America, college in the States, then pro back home for a couple of years, and now Australia for a couple of years. I think having played in so many different places and experiencing different types of situations, it's prepping you well for further down in your career when, who knows, you might be signing here and then midway through signing there, and then it's really prepping you well for upcoming moves in your basketball career. And on that kaupapa of moves and whatnot, talk to us a little bit about your recent, very, very recent signing to a team in Canada, brother.
Yeah, so not long ago I was contacted by a coach who coaches in the CEBL, which is a new league in Canada. And they have an international roster spot, which I was contacted for. And this is during the season over here. So it's been like a bit of a juggle trying to manage how I handle it. Like, do I remain loyal and try to see the season out, or do I try to take the next step in my career and put myself in a setting that's going to push me harder, push me forward? And, so ultimately that was the decision, like just something that can further expand my career and hopefully lead to more eyes and more opportunities in maybe Europe or in the States or whatever it may be. But yeah, I think just having those options is truly grateful just to have the options, bro. And yeah.
Exactly, brother. And it's a huge thing, bro. It's a huge thing. Don't never ever downplay it, brother. To get offers from international teams, especially somewhere like Canada, where the basketball level is still high, even though it's like looked at as the second string to USA, the basketball level is still very high there, bro. And to be getting calls from teams like that, man, huge stuff, brother.
100.
Yo, and talk about just a little bit about what you're excited for once you arrive in Canada.
Well, the league is full of like G League players and fringe NBA players, and just to compete against that higher level, you know, like I need to iron makes iron. Iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
So like just to be going against like dudes at that level, just to see how I compare and how I adapt and how I can manage that moving forward.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, anyway, congrats again, brother. Huge, huge news.
Yeah.
Glad to be talking about it with you on the podcast. So
Fresh break, bro.
yeah,
Fresh off the press. Fresh
fresh
off the
off the
press.
press for the Tange exclusive. That's us, guys.
Oh, good.
Anyway, brother, just to
I was like, oh,
ko ki mai anō e hika mā aroha mai. Kāre tonu ahau I te utu mo te Zoom Premium. Heoi, ko ki mai. Me hoki ki ngā kōrero. So, once again, bro, congrats on the Canada trip and Canada signing. Mean stuff, brother. And really cool to see, especially for our tamariki mokopuna, to see just a young Māori boy who got it on his own and rising to, you know, these sorts of taumata teitei o te ao me ki. Like, it's not an easy thing for anyone, first of all, but especially not for our whanaunga Māori and our tamariki mokopuna Māori. It's not an easy thing. So, inspiration, brother, for me and for many other tamariki mokopuna Māori, brother. So, keep doing what you Kia ora, brother. And just to finish up our episode, he whārangi Māori tēnei no reira, ka re kore ka pātai atu I ētahi, pātai e hāngai ana ki taua ao. No reira, tuatahi ake, I pēhea e pēhea ana tō ao Māori e hiki e hāpai I a koe I roto I tēnei haerenga o te poitūkohu. I pēhea tērā ao, tō ao Māori, I āwhina I a koe I tēnei haerenga nō.
Well, I was just thinking about this the other day, bro. I was watching the mātaki and just to see the passion and the fierceness and ruthlessness that us Māori have, especially back in the day, traditionally, like, you know, we didn't give up so easy when they try to, you know, take our land over and that. Like, we have that warrior spirit, and there's a lot of times where questioning like why I feel so ruthless or why I feel so like a savage. And then watching the mātaki, then like I'm realizing why I am the way I am. It's because, like, you know, that's who we are as Māori, bro. Like, we're warriors. We're relentless. We you know, we don't back down for the things that we stand for, and we're not afraid of a challenge, bro. So it's like, that's how I felt watching it, bro. I'm just like, because I had these questions in my head, like, you know, like, what is it about Māori that we strive, even though we're such a small part of the earth? And I think just the baseline, just that itself, just like, especially like how we do hakas before competition, like, some people might find it a distraction, but when you are like Māori and you come from where we come from, it's like, it's just a part of it. You don't even question it at that point. It's just like, it's in the DNA, bro.
Exactly, brother. Exactly, me. And yeah, talking about that relentlessness and that, yeah, almost feeling like you are a savage. Like, you know, that whole āhuatanga, it's very prevalent in all Māori, for that matter. And I think in the world that we're in, that a lot of the time from people who aren't Māori gets mistaken as, like, especially for kids, it gets taken as either misbehavior or acting up, acting a certain way, and it's really like misconstrued. It's far from
the
it.
perspectives, bro. It's like subjective, you know. To some people, that's bad behavior, but to another set of eyes, like that's normal, you know. So it's really like what kind of setting you're surrounding yourself around. And thankful for me, like going to a kura, you know, I was submerged in te ao Māori and doing kapahaka and, you know, knowing the difference between a tangi and a funeral, like just all these little increments that have added up to me embracing my own skin, for
Yeah, for sure, brother. And that's especially inspiring for a lot of these young kids, brother, because they will be looking at themselves when they are acting, you know, acting relentless, and they feel like they're doing something wrong because all these words are coming at them that you are being naughty, that you are playing up. But really, koira te āhua te Māori, koira te āhua, e roto tērā i a tātou katoa. So mean kōrero to hear that, bro. And
100.
Next question, bro, just building off this, these questions about your ao Māori. He aha, me ki he aha o whāinga mō tō ao Māori, no reira. Kaua ko te poitūkohu, wai o te poitūkohu, he aha o whāinga mō tō ao Māori, me ki.
Oku ake whainga, oku ake ihanga mo te ao Māori.
Mō tō ao Māori,
Probably like kotahitanga, bro, whanaungatanga. Like we are all the same, really, and doesn't matter what shape, size, color you are. Like if you're on this mara, you eat with me, you sleep with me, we all on the same vibe. Like especially in team sports, but also it could be in a working space. It could be anything that you share enough time with a certain amount of people. Like that's your whānau, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they should have your back, and it's like everyone chips in to help the community strive. And I think like just having that instilled at a young age and just being able to maybe take a sacrifice so then it benefits the community, or either stepping up so it benefits the community, like being able to adjust to how a successful and a healthy setting looks like.
Yeah, for sure, brother. And exactly that's what being Māori is about, brother, is, you know, working as a unit. Each person has their mahi. Each person has their thing they need to do. To keep
everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, and being able to like adapt to that. Like I heard a saying, it's like back in the day they will get infants and take them around to different environments and see which one they naturally gravitated towards, you know. And like that's how I feel I've been treated growing up. Like naturally I just love sports, so that's the setting that I was put in, and I couldn't see myself in any other setting at this point. But like if it was flipped over, I feel like I would have been made to think that I have to do a certain thing.
Yes.
Rather than be able to be who I am.
Yeah, for sure, bro, for sure. And that is the way of Māori. Like you said, that's what they used to do. Take the kids round. We're either going to hiika, if you're good at that, that's your mahi. Go whakangau whaka, if you're good at that, that's your mahi. So wicked to hear that, these kind of kōrero from someone like yourself, brother, at these higher levels, and still, you know, holding on to these kind of kōreros and really making it what it sounds like to me, the tuara of you, really. So me, brother. And just to finish up, G, last question of the potty. He aha tētahi kōrero mā ngā tamariki mokopuna e whakamātau ana kia eke ki taumata ki atu roto i te ao hākinakina.
This one's from my bro Buddies. He gave me this gem at Māori tournament. It was tama tū, tama ora, tama noho, tama mate. So simply that, bro. Like, if you want something, you got to stand for it. And if you don't, then it's not going to happen for real. So it's like, tama tū, tama ora, you know? So stand up for what you want, and live it, bro. Breathe it, become it. Don't let anyone sit you down for. And if you do, stand back up, bro. You're not going to stay down there. Because that's where your dreams die, when you stay down. So just keep getting back up, bro. Chink up, put that warrior spirit on. Papa pūkana, brother. You know?
Mean, brother.
Mean.
It's the one, cuz. Mean. Oh, bro. Been a wicked kōrero just before we finish, G. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up? Anything at all, cuz?
I want to give you your props, bro, you know, for promoting this all over social media, and like, it's just the organic feel to what you're doing, bro. It's nothing replicated, and to keep our tipuranga alive and our culture alive, it starts with what we do, you know. It's like, as much as it is our future and our past, it's the present, and what you're doing right now, bro, is big up, you know, like making it something that Māori or Pākehā can engage in, and maybe learn something or take something away or add to their own situation, and just trying to spread light on a lot of good things that the Māori are capable of doing, bro, especially like in the sports world. We have a lot of talented kids here who might not have the best guidance in that, but I feel like the stuff you're doing is a light of hope for what's to come in the future, bro. So big up to you, my brother. Keep doing what you're doing, my bro.
Yeah, my man, appreciate you, brother. It means a lot, bro. And don't worry, guys, we'll never stop. We're gonna get this.
Yeah.
We're gonna take it to the next
Tama
level.
tū. Yes, sir.
Tama ora, brother. Tama noho, tama mate. Koira.
Yeah.
Oh, walei.
Great.
Ka taua tērā, brother. Tēnei au e mihi mai oha atu ki a koe, brother. Tēnei au e mihi nui atu ki a koe.
Kia koe.
Ki a koe. I tō whai wā māku ki te kōrero ki a koe. Ki te tautoko i te kaupapa nei. I te mea mai kore ko koe, mai kore ko ngā kaitākaro Māori, ka kore tēnei kaupapa e ora. Nō reira, anō parata, tēnei au ka mihi, nunu ia.
Nunu. Casey. Casey.
Oh, well, brother. Oh, it's been amazing. Appreciate you, Kazi.
101, G. 101, brother.
Let's go, brother.